Live. From your local leader, this is News 13 Live at 5.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Jerry Brown. Amy Hoyt has the day off. At the top of our news, a 14th Judicial Circuit prosecutor resigns after finding some video evidence that leads a Jackson County Sheriff's deputy to be fired. Christina Pumphrey says she uncovered some things about the deputy, Zach Wester. The state attorney's office denies the charge, saying that the public defender's office brought the issues to the forefront and that they immediately moved forward with an investigation. We will have more of this story tonight on News 13 at 6, and we have documents from the state attorney's office on our website, mypanhandle.com. Two of the three men involved in an armed robbery that resulted in the death of an Arnold High School student are sentenced. Rodney Jones and Tertavius Canada both made plea deals in exchange for their testimony against the convicted shooter, DeMarcus Giddens. Jones, who pleaded guilty of principal to robbery with a deadly weapon, requested a 15-year sentence, while the state suggested he serve the minimum 20 years. Jones was granted the lesser sentence of 15 years. Three different zones in Bay County covering much of the coast under mandatory evacuations. Those evacuation notices will officially go into effect tomorrow morning. News 13's Alex Thorson joins us live tonight from the Bay County Emergency Operations Center. Alex? Many in the area have spent this day preparing for the big storm, getting the supplies they need. Tonight, News 13's Chelsea Tedonio is out at Target in Panama City with a live report. And Chelsea, what's it been like there today? The city of Panama City all day long, checking all fronts to get ready for what Michael brings. One big concern for the city, the possible storm surge at the city marina. A busy day in the city of Lynn Haven preparing for the storm and helping locals get ready as well. Lynn Haven's mayor signing a proclamation issuing a state of emergency for the city. Until 6 o'clock this evening, free sandbags were available for city residents at the Lynn Haven Sports Complex. Two locals say the preparation reminds them of preparing for Hurricane Opal. You know, we live in a world where technology has pretty much taken over, but some people can't fathom to see history die. In November, you'll vote not just for your elected officials, but also on 12 different amendments. Tonight, News 13's Alex Thorson tells us more about Amendment 12, the lobbying amendment. Well, anchors away. The Pirates of the High Seas Fest back in Bay County, bringing family events tonight through Sunday. It all began at 5 p.m. today out at Pier Park. That's where we find News 13's Kirsten Mitchell. Hey, Kirsten, I've got a question for you right now. What's a pirate's favorite letter? What would that be? It would not be October without the return of the Central Panhandle Fair, Bay County. The fall favorite began tonight at 6 o'clock at the fairgrounds. This year, there's nearly 50 rides for all ages, as well as classic fair food, games, crafts, animals, and much more.
Gabera made the accomplishment at the same break point where she suffered a serious injury back in 2013. So, Jerry, a lot of determination there.
A 68-footer.
Yes.
Whoa.
And she was injured in the same spot back in 13, still got back in the water, which is impressive enough, and then a 68-foot wave. Could you do that?
Pretty brave. I don't think so. It's fun to watch though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll watch. I'm good there.
Back in a moment. Mr. Cox says with every month that went by, his frustration began to build. He seemingly could not get anything done. So he contacted News 13. We in turn contacted the corporate office of ADT to try to get resolution to this problem. There are similar complaints voiced by other tenants who live here. Some of them say they still like living in the complex. They're just concerned about these issues that have come up. The big question is, what is the company doing about it? These lines may become familiar after a time if you drive the bridge daily. The problem will be for out-of-towners not familiar with the bridge. If you hit this at a higher rate of speed, the lines can be confusing. When the fires break out, the Red Cross responds when it's needed, but it's also called out in hurricanes, tornadoes, and other bad weather. With storm season still in the distance, it's the time of the year the Red Cross is building its team of volunteers. This water is beautiful and calm, but it can become a dangerous environment for someone who doesn't know how to swim, particularly a baby. It's obvious Tram Road is important to the drivers getting from Star Avenue to Tyndall Parkway, and everybody we talked to wanted to know what can be done to make it better. So I took that question straight to Bay County.
Summer begins this week, I believe on the 20th. Hey, we're right there, you know, and hotter this week, near 90s,
93,
low 90s.
95 by Saturday.
Yeah, well, the weekend was nice, I gotta say.
It was pretty perfect.
It was a great Father's Day weekend. You know?
It was spectacular. it was just fantastic.
It was
You know,
great.
at times the weather was just perfect.
Nice breeze out there, so.
Yes.
wish
Good
we had more
job,
of that.
Atlanta.
An oddity more than anything else, but of course, if it's out there, I'm going to talk about it.
Well, we have a couple of Chris's here. All of a sudden, they're important. Tropical
and
storm
They
named
perked
after.
up.
We have 3 Chris's? 4,
At least,
5, 6?
at least.
Seems like it anyway.
Maybe more before it's over with. Thanks, Justin. Well, you know, last week we had all the rain and everything. That was great. So
Yes.
hopefully it's brought our level up. We're not as bad as we have been.
About even for most of the area, and I noticed lots of green grass and yards out
Oh, yeah.
there with some of that recent
out
rain.
there. Yeah, and more to come. Well, looking at those 7 days, as is the case, we on the coast get a little break from the
Yes.
heat, a few degrees, just a few.
But inland areas, you know, Montgomery, Macon,
believe that?
105 to 108 air temperature.
Yeah.
I lived up there for a while when I was a kid. It doesn't cool off.
Even Chattanooga has 103 right now.
That's right, that's right.
So it's all up through there.
This is Pinnacle at Hammock Square in Lynn Haven. If you have driven Highway 77 near Walmart, you have probably seen the attractive apartments behind the public shopping center. They opened last summer. The developer says the complex was built with concrete block construction, according to Florida Green Building Certification standards. That means it is airtight. And with colder temperatures this time of the year, the building can't breathe, and there is a buildup of moisture.
Started deep cleaning, moving stuff, and I noticed green fuzzy. I noticed it in one area, and I was like, oh.
This tenant doesn't want her face to appear on camera, but did describe how the environment in her apartment changed about 3 weeks ago.
It's nasty to live with mold. It's not clean, it's unhealthy, and I just feel like they should have us somewhere else until the problem's taken care of.
She showed me pictures of what she says is mold that had collected on some of her furniture. Property management responded to her complaints by doing some cleanup of affected items and bringing in this dehumidifier. Tenants were advised to set their thermostats at a cooler level to control the potential for mold. Another resident sent me these pictures of mold in her apartment. She moved out after 6 months.
There are similar complaints voiced by other tenants who live here. Some of them say they still like living in the complex. They're just concerned about these issues that have come up. The big question is, what is the company doing about it?
The regional vice president of Pinnacle Housing Group says he was on site last week in Lynn Haven along with an assessment team.
We did a thorough inspection of the units the other day, and ones that were too humid, we've brought back into balance. You've got a stable interior environment where the humidity goes up and up, and the air conditioning is not on, so the air is not circulating, or if the resident is not running their mechanical system at all or not turning on the ceiling fans that we provide in each unit, you may get stagnant air. It's advisable to you to open a window twice a day, 5 to 10 minutes, to allow for a fresh air exchange.
Lawrence Cox of Callaway says his problem with ADT started last May with a knock on the door. A representative of ADT Security spoke with him about upgrading his home security system.
She told me, so they had to charge me for new contacts for all the windows and the doors and everything.
That was part of the upgrade.
Right, because they were going from a hardwired system to a wireless system.
Cox says he paid just over $252 for the upgrades. Then the woman left.
Well, then a man come down and said he could put it, he was going to be here about 45 minutes putting it in, because they didn't have to run any wires. All they had to do was stick them on, but nothing worked. And when he turned the alarm on, I asked him when he was going to turn it on because I didn't hear it.
Cox says the only visit from ADT after that were monthly bills for service Cox says was not even complete.
Could you figure why in the world they just wouldn't finish the job?
No, I couldn't.
Mr. Cox says with every month that went by, his frustration began to build. He seemingly could not get anything done. So he contacted News 13. We in turn contacted the corporate office of ADT to try to get resolution to this problem.
I had seen you doing some articles on the TV. So I figured, well, what have I got to lose? I got a return call from them in a hurry.
ADT techs came to Mr. Cox's home a couple of days later working on the security system. News 13 received this statement from Bob Tucker, ADT Public Relations Director, saying, quote, "We are pleased the issues were resolved with our customer and that he is happy with the new siren and window contacts that were recently installed in his home."
I got a response quick after I talked to you.